Hello, how are you today? It's a little bit dark in here, isn't it? Let me turn on the light for you. Hold on. Was the darkness scary for you? Were you feeling a little bit anxious or nervous, perhaps? Well, that's okay. A lot of people experience anxiety, nervousness, fear, and other similar types of discomfort. And they're all based in fear. A lot of the times it is because you are performing what I call predictive thinking, which is you're thinking about what might happen in the future. And unfortunately, you're doing negative predictive thinking or destructive predictive thinking in that you are predicting something bad will happen, something destructive, something negative. And that actually sets up kind of a loop of thinking in your head, and it can get worse and worse and worse until you, in effect, have an emotional tornado tearing through your head. And that can really be debilitating. You can spend hours not being able to focus, not being able to do the things that you need to do in your life, your job, or personally. It can prevent you from sleeping. It can prevent you from doing well at an interview or on a test or in many other kinds of situations. As a child, I had some degree of shyness, and when I got into my teens, I started suffering from, I guess what you would call social anxiety. I never thought that that would happen to me because when it came to things like tests, and even once I got up on stage for a band or choir or something like that, I very rarely experienced anything in the form of fear or nervousness. And in fact, it seemed that for the most part, except for once when I was in, I think, middle school, and I had to be a main character on a play when I got in front of an audience, I didn't memorize my lines. I was reading off of a script, and I was a bit nervous at that point because there were two copies of the script, one of which was missing a page and the other was not. And I was so nervous and so expecting to get the wrong script that I anticipated it to the point where I had to stop the performance and ask for the correct script when I had it in my hands. That was rather embarrassing. But, you know, the anxiety, the social anxiety that I felt got so bad that we would go visit close family that, you know, like my uncle and aunt and cousins. And after getting there, after a while, I would become so intensely uncomfortable with people I loved very much that I would leave the room and go off by myself somewhere to read or something, trying to, I guess, distract myself. I didn't know what was happening. I didn't understand why I was feeling uncomfortable around people I loved. I didn't understand that I had social anxiety, in fact, until just a few years ago, probably about 5 years ago, when I learned that it's something that runs in my family. But over the years, I have learned to deal with and to basically overcome this fear-based reaction, this negative trend in thinking, and not 100%. There are still times when I find it hard to maintain equilibrium, but generally speaking, I can remain calm. I have done teaching. I have done public speaking in front of hundreds of people. I've been on television that was broadcast across Indonesia and even to Indonesians overseas. I have a YouTube channel that you're looking at right now, along with two others that you're not looking at probably. And I rarely find that I have social anxiety. One thing that was interesting is although that I did conquer it in my 20s, which is half my life ago, when I came back to the U.S., I found that because of the events of my life surrounding my wife's death and what happened after that, which was a very unpleasant period in my life and my kids' lives, I discovered that I was having problems with social anxiety. So to deal with it, I was riding the bus, and I would force myself to talk to people on the bus. And I had some very interesting conversations, fascinating conversations, and it um, really helped me. So, what I'd like to do today is to try and help you if you suffer from these things. Like maybe you can't get to sleep at night, you have insomnia. Maybe you have emotional tornadoes running around in your head. Maybe you have performance anxiety or generalized anxiety or social anxiety, or you have basic nervousness, or this can be applied to pretty much any situation in which you feel anxious, nervous, scared, and so on and so forth, to help you to maintain your calmness and to perform at your best instead of your worst. Now, I'm not going to explain how the amygdala plays a major role in what you're experiencing. Maybe I'll do that in a separate video. But what I want you to understand is that this is only one technique that you can use, and if it doesn't work for you, that doesn't mean it doesn't work. There are one of two possibilities. One is that you didn't try long enough, okay? Because this is something that, like most things in life, requires repetition. Now, I know there are some people out there, they can pick things up and do them the first try without any problems. But for the average person, this, as with most habits, has to be practiced again and again for it to become a habit and eventually become automatic, to the point that you will feel that you no longer suffer from that form of anxiety. I've used this to help me with falling asleep when I was having trouble with insomnia that was caused by the negative predictive thinking and the emotional tornadoes and stuff like that in my head. I've used it in preparation for interviews and tests, and I've used it to calm down in stressful situations. I've used it to conquer my social anxiety, and it does definitely work. But you must do it again and again and again to have the ability to quickly dissipate the fear that you feel. So I'm going to tell you right now that this technique is very easy to do. Okay? You just need to do it often. Now, I would suggest a minimum of 3 times a day, bare minimum, preferably more, and devote as much time as you can do to it without letting it interfere with your life. You can do it when you get up, you can do it when you're eating your meal, you can do it when you go back to sleep. You can do it when you're driving. In fact, I taught this to a coworker of mine, and a few days later, he told me that he suffers from anxiety, and he has a lot of anxiety issues when he's driving, and that he remembered what I had taught him, and he used it to calm himself down, and he said that I might have saved him from an accident by teaching him that. So, I'm not saying that this is magic, okay? It's not. It's just rewiring your brain is really what it is all about. So, the first thing I want you to do is just breathe. I want you to breathe in very slowly and deeply. But I don't want you to breathe to your chest. I want you to breathe to your gut, to your stomach. And I want you to imagine that you're pushing the air down to about the level of your belly button, which is right there. Okay? And so you're imagining that your lungs are expanding all the way down to your belly button. And I'm going to back this up here. Gosh. Don't be freaked out. I'm a little bit fat. I'm sorry. 7 months at a warehouse didn't get rid of it. So you're going to breathe down to here. So if you look, you can see that I'm going to do this for you right now. So Okay, so that's what it is from the front side. Now, what you should have noticed when I was doing that is you should have noticed that my shoulders were not moving and my rib cage was not moving. Now, this is called abdominal breathing, but when you breathe here, which a lot of us do many times, it's called thoracic breathing or breathing to your chest. And I'll show you what that looks like. And you'll tend to notice that when somebody's breathing to their chest, that they will move their shoulders a lot, and you'll see the rib cage expanding and contracting. You'll also notice that you can't breathe in as deeply and as long, and this is because you're using the diaphragm, which is a muscle that's right down around here, that helps you to breathe. You're constraining the movement of the diaphragm so that it keeps all of the lungs up above the diaphragm. Now, with abdominal breathing, you're pushing your diaphragm down to allow your lungs extra space. And this is a definite advantage. In fact, if you're going to do a deep dive in the water or just swimming for a long distance underwater, abdominal breathing can be very helpful to you. So I'm going to try to show you from the side. Oh boy, maybe I better do it from the other side. Hold on here. Alright, so we've got, yes, I'm so handsome. Alright, so I'm going to just put my hand right there like that. Okay, so that's how you should be breathing. You should be pushing it down, pushing your diaphragm down into against your intestines to allow your lungs more breathing space. So that's what I want you to do, and your goal is 4 seconds inhale, 4 seconds exhale. So you're going to be breathing in for 4 seconds. You're going to be breathing out for 4 seconds. You don't need to pause. And if you do pause, please don't make it more than, say, a second or something like that. It's not necessary. There is actually a nerve. I don't know how to spell it. It's called the vagus nerve, I think. And doing this kind of breathing actually stimulates that nerve, and that nerve somehow is involved in calming you down. So there is a scientific basis in this. It's not just mumbo jumbo. It's not weird meditation tricks that cause you to go to the fifth plane or for you to have an out-of-body experience or something like that. This is science-based technique, okay? And so I want you to just practice doing that. I'm going to count for you so you don't have to worry about counting. And then I'm going to tell you what to do next, okay? So I want you to start breathing in now. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to continue to breathe slowly like that. And just focus on the experience of breathing, which is something we usually don't do very much of. So just go ahead, close your eyes, relax. And if you're feeling nervous about what I'm doing right now, I'm not trying to hypnotize you, and I invite you to watch the video in full without doing any of the instructions that I'm following, okay? Okay, so you should be inhaling and exhaling right now. Now I want you to start making a noise with your mouth while you're breathing. Now, in traditional studies of meditation, they'll ask you to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, or out in through the mouth and out through the nose, and they'll tell you to imagine your chi is circling through your body, and this is not anything that's necessary. You can use it to help you to enhance your focus, but it's not necessary. So I want you to just do whichever way is comfortable for you. Now, if you have allergies, you may find that breathing in through your nose is going to cause you to sneeze under certain circumstances. So if you feel it's necessary to breathe out through your nose and in through your mouth, or only use your mouth, or only use your nose, I don't really care. Just make a noise. Okay? So go ahead and inhale and listen to the sound as you're inhaling. And listen to it as you exhale. Keep your eyes closed. Don't open them up. There's nothing for you to see on the screen that's interesting. Just my ugly face. Continue to breathe slowly and deeply into your stomach. Yeah, that's it. Keep your eyes closed. Just go ahead and carry on with breathing slowly and deeply. And if you notice that there are any muscles in your body that feel tensed up, just go ahead and let them relax. Make sure you're in a comfortable position, of course. If you're not, it's okay. You can go ahead and change your position right now if you feel that it'd be better for you to sit or stand or lie down. Whatever makes you feel comfortable is fine. You can get up and get down or do whatever. Shift your position. You can do this activity in a lot of different situations, although I wouldn't recommend closing your eyes when you're driving. All right. Now, I want you to go ahead and pause me if necessary, and I want you to just go ahead and carry on with breathing in and out and listening to that noise. Focus as much of your attention as possible on the breathing. If you notice that your attention has drifted away, bring it on back. And when you feel that you've made a little bit of progress or you just are ready for the next step, go ahead and continue the video. So pause now, please. Okay, so you should have had some kind of an experience, hopefully a positive one, right? But for some people, especially those who suffer from attention deficit disorder and similar, you may have struggled with focusing on the sound of your breathing. So I want you to continue to breathe with your eyes closed, but now I want you to add in another thing. In addition to listening to the sound of the breathing, I want you to pay attention to your body moving. Pay attention to the movement of the muscles in your body that are allowing you to do this abdominal breathing. And I want you to just continue to breathe in slowly and deeply, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out, eyes closed. Listen to the sound and pay attention to your muscles moving. Go ahead and pause the video, and when you're ready to continue, you can press the play button. Okay, so now you have hopefully got a little bit of experience with doing both listening and feeling the movement of your body. So let's add a third factor. What I want you to do now is I want you to notice as the air goes into your mouth or nose and out of your mouth or nose or both, I want you to notice the temperature change. The temperatures as they come in, the temperatures as they go out. Notice the difference. You don't have to calculate or anything like that, obviously, but just notice what the temperature is of the air going in and your breath coming out. And go ahead and do that for as long as you need to, and you can pause the video, and when you're ready, just go ahead and continue. Remember, you're still keeping your eyes closed, number one. Number two, you're paying attention to the noise you're making. Number three, you're paying attention to the movement of your muscles. And now, number four, you're paying attention to the temperature. So go ahead and pause. Okay, so you've got 4 things that you're focusing on right now. And you're probably feeling like, oh, this is hard. Gosh, I can't do this. That's okay. That's normal. The more things you add to this, the more it does feel difficult. But, again, this takes practice. Most people will not be able to master this in 1 sitting or 5 sittings or I don't know. it could take you 100 sittings to feel comfortable even with having 4 different things to focus on. And you may notice that your brain is shifting attention from one thing to another thing to another thing. But the good news is you can actually do almost all of these simultaneously because they are using different parts of your brain. You just didn't realize that. So you just need to relax and let it happen, okay? We're going to add a 5th aspect to this experience. So number 1 was, what was it? Close your eyes. Number 2, listen to the noise you're making. Number 3, listen to your body, feel your body moving. Number 4, feel the temperature of the air and your breath. Number 5, I want you to also notice any difference in humidity of the air and your breath as you're going in and out. Okay? So go ahead and focus on all 5 of those things. Make sure your eyes are closed. It helps you to focus, okay? And go ahead and pause the video, and when you're ready, you can continue. Okay, I hope you gave yourself time, and you're probably feeling a little bit frustrated. You may have noticed that your attention kept on wandering away. That's okay. Don't beat yourself up about it. Don't feel guilty. Don't feel like a failure. It's natural. It takes training to stop doing that. Okay? So don't feel like it's not working for you just because the first time or the second time or the 100th time your attention is wandering. It takes effort, okay? It's probably in some ways harder than riding a bicycle, all right? Or swimming. But the results will be satisfying over time, all right? So again, you have your eyes closed. And you can go ahead and open your eyes if you want to, if you're done breathing. If your eyes closed, you're paying attention to the movement of your body. You're paying attention to the sound that you're making as you're breathing. You're paying attention to the temperature and also to the humidity. Now, all of your attention is focused on your breathing. You're not paying attention to what's around you. And if you do find that your attention drifts over to, you hear a car driving past, just gently bring your attention back to your breathing. Whatever the distraction is, just pull your attention back again and again and again. We've got a monkey mind, and most of us have never been trained in how to control this and make it stick to one thing. So this is what you have to accomplish. Now, I suggest that you may want to consider alternating, always closing your eyes except for when it's dangerous to do so, but alternating between the other 4 things, and then as you feel comfortable, adding in more until you can do all 5 of those things simultaneously. And again, do it as often as you can. If you can only do it for 1 minute, that's fine. If you have half an hour or an hour, that's fine too. Whatever amount of time you can devote to it, but just make sure you're doing it multiple times a day. And I can tell you right now that you'll get to a point where you will start to notice that it actually makes you feel more balanced. It may make you feel calmer. And if you use it in stressful situations, like when you're upset or when you're going to have an interview or something, you'll notice that it helps you to calm down and think better, because I'll tell you what, the amygdala is really good at hijacking your brain. And this is a great way to counteract that response. Okay, so go ahead and practice that. If you want to use my video to help you to practice it again and again, you're welcome to do so. Obviously, if you don't want to, if you want to just do it independently, that's also perfectly fine. You will eventually notice that in addition to being able to handle those 4 things with your eyes closed or open if necessary, you'll eventually notice that you'll get results. And then you'll notice that it takes less time to get those results. And eventually you'll notice that it takes very little time to get those results. And one day you won't even need to do it anymore because you'll have rewired your brain, so to speak. You'll have made new neural pathways that have bypassed the negative habits, the anxiety or whatever it is you're feeling, and you will be able to function better. Okay? Now, there is an alternative technique that some people use, and that is as you're breathing in and out, you imagine that you're forming a ball of air right here in front of your mouth and nose, right in this area, right here, okay? Sorry, I don't have a camera person to help me. So just imagine that you're creating a ball of air right there as you're breathing in and out. And try to count from 1 to 10 slowly as you're doing this. And then can't count back down from 10 to 1. If you want to use 0 or if you want to use more numbers, that's fine. But try to use the numbers and the pretend air ball right here to help you to focus. There are lots of other ways that you can go about it. If you find a better one that works more for you than this does, and that's fantastic. There are lots of different ways to approach this. The basics are abdominal breathing that you focus all your attention on. Now, just to explain a little bit further about this, if you have a fire, say you've gone camping or you've got a fireplace and you have a bunch of logs and you light them on fire, what would happen if you were to suddenly just put out the wood? Would the fire continue to burn? No. If you have a gas pipe with natural gas in it and you light that gas as it's coming out, when you turn off the gas, will the flame continue to burn? No. So when you direct your attention, all of your attention, to your breathing or to something else, it doesn't have to be breathing. What you're doing then is you're preventing your brain from thinking in patterns that are destructive, that are negative, and create emotional turmoil. You're taking away that possibility, because when you're not focusing on what's upsetting you, you're not creating the emotional response, and you can be calm. And I will tell you that many people who have trouble with insomnia have that problem because your mind is all wound up and you're thinking about stuff, and your emotions are going crazy, and your thinking is just right around in your head, and it keeps you from sleeping. And you can use this technique to help you to fall asleep. So basically, it's clearing your mind. Okay? I hope that this video has helped you, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.